Here are 5 reasons why the Pistons are going to make the playoffs in the 2021-2022 season. And by the end of this video, you're going to be like, yeah, they are going to make the playoffs. Okay, here are 5 reasons why the Pistons are going to make the playoffs. Number 1, let's not forget that we had the worst record in the NBA last year, but we played right with and beat really good teams last year. So we played exciting basketball that was very competitive, and we were right there, even beating some of the best teams in the league. You know, even some games where it's like double overtime against a really good team, or LeBron and AD had to make some crucial shots, huge shots just to beat us. I mean, that's super encouraging versus, I think of the Van Gundy years when, I mean, every loss, every time he took the the podium, it was just like tried to come up with a reason why we lost, and it was just there was no hope. Just remember that last year we played right with so many teams and often beat some of the best teams in the league. Number 4, we have the same core as we had last year. So you see this a lot in like the NFL, right? Where we'll be like, oh, they're going to be really good this year. But you really look at their roster and you realize they made a lot of additions. They got rid of guys, and like half of their team is different. I get it. Football is way different. There's a lot more guys. But in basketball, you can have that same thing where, oh, they're going to be good. They've added this or this. You know, it's just a lot of unknowns that you really don't know about. Where the Pistons, we saw visually these guys that will not regress. We know that. I mean, how could they, right? They're young. They only are going to get better. They have to. Whereas other guys, and you see this in the NBA, where they have this just dramatic regression, and they lose the bounce, they lose their athleticism, they lose that explosiveness. We're not going to do that. Instead, we're hoping that Killian can shoot better. We hope that other guys can, improve their defense or whatever area that they would need to get a little bit better. We can do that. We know that we're not going to have anybody that's just like, oh my gosh, like total regression. And that's what happens in the NBA as you get older. Luckily, we got younger guys, so we're only going to get better from a team that we just saw on the court last year that did some really good, exciting things. They're only going to get better. Number 3, Cade Cunningham. So we add the best possible option in the offseason that you could in the best young player in Cade Cunningham. Of course, we had the number 1 overall pick, so we select Cade Cunningham. 6'8", has really no weaknesses. So if you look at him just from, just a high level, do some math. If you think, man, if he could make 5 plays a game that we just didn't have last year, just 5, I mean, that's 10 points a game. And if you look at what we did last year, we were in almost every game, exciting to the end. We just didn't have that playmaker, or didn't have a play here or a play there, lose by 2 points, lose by 5 points. If Cade Cunningham can be the difference to make just 5 different types of plays where he creates, or he gets to the hole, or he makes a shot, that's 10 more points a game that could really push us over the edge to, instead of winning 25 games, now you're winning 35, now you're 45. I mean, it could just snowball where you're winning the games that you didn't win last year, and now all of a sudden, hey, you get into the season, now you're kind of like 10-8. You can see how you could kind of build confidence when you're just kind of in the mix, stay in the mix all season, get kind of halfway through the year, you're 22-19, you know what I mean? Like, you can just kind of stay in it because Cade is providing some options that we didn't have last year that could keep us in the game, win more games, and then the snowball effect could take place, and now get to the end of the season and we're right in the mix. At number 2, the other teams in our division don't scare me. I mean, yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks are that team, and they're going to be that team for a while, but other than the Bucks, I'm not afraid of anybody else in our division who we're going to play most. And you look at the Pacers, very solid, good core there, but I'm not like, oh man, loss, guaranteed loss. No, we can beat the Pacers, the Bulls, the Cavaliers. I mean, these teams just don't scare me day in and day out. When we play them, we see them, we start the season off with the Bulls back to back. We could be 2-0 right there. I mean, the Bulls had some great offseason additions, but what if their defense just really isn't good? That's one concern that they have. And what if the Cavaliers don't have the firepower? What if Giannis gets hurt? Now our division is just like man, nobody scares me in our division. So I think that's really important to look at. The teams that we're going to play most, nobody is just like far and away way better than us. I mean the Bucks, but the other teams are not. But it's just one injury away from Giannis for us to be right in the mix for the division. And lastly, and most importantly, the Pistons are built the right way. So they have guys that can play positionless basketball, play defense, and overall we can shoot pretty well. And if we can get Killian to shoot better, man, we would be a really tough out. We're going to be a hard team to play each and every night. It's a team that you just don't want to play. To see the Pistons, because we're young, athletic, we're built the right way. And I talked about it earlier, but man, there was nothing worse than losing. Stan Van Gundy would go up there and talk about, you know, Greg Monroe, or, you know, we just didn't have the right pieces. We had guys that were on our team that just, you know, you don't build an NBA team around Greg Monroe, Josh Smith, you know, some of these guys. Instead, we've got young, athletic guys that can only get better. They're only going to get better this year. And so how big is that jump, right? If they just get a little bit better, all those second-year guys, then hey, you know, if Cade Cunningham is, you know, just solid and, you know, doesn't make mistakes and is trying to learn, then, you know, we'll go from here to kind of here. But man, what if those second-year guys really explode? What if, you know, we're playing our division opponents and it's just like, man, Chicago and the Pacers and the Cavaliers just aren't that good, you know, they don't scare us each and every night, and then Cade Cunningham does really well, and it's like, man, we can really take off, and we build off the momentum that we had last year where we played really good against the best teams in the NBA. And so if you look at those 5 things, it's like, man, the Pistons are building something. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but for those 5 reasons, it could be this year that we sneak into the playoffs. And I don't even care if we sneak into the playoffs, because it would just feel good to have a winner in Detroit. We have not had a winner in any of our 4 major sports in 10 years. So it would just be awesome to see the Pistons kind of start off like 5-1 or something, you know, something crazy, just to get the fans pumped. And then, hey, we could carry that momentum, keep going. Now all of a sudden at the end of the season, you're kind of right in the mix, and then we can get into the playoffs. So we'll see. I hope for the best. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and leave a comment. Let me know what you think the record is and if we can get into the playoffs. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one.